There. Oh my god. Oh my god. Grand Theft Auto 6 PS4.
I'll kick your lying butt.
Guys, I gotta be honest about something. I don't really watch anime. I know. Hot take. It's incredibly insane. Who would have thunk?
You're a fucking idiot.
When it comes to the medium, it's one that I really haven't dipped my toes in that awful much. It's not to say that I haven't watched any anime at all. In fact, I've watched a couple and they're absolutely fantastic. But a handful of the times, it's either a ginormous time commitment or the start is just so incredibly slow and I'm told, dude, don't worry, it gets better in the second season.
Shut the fuck up, bitch.
If it's not enjoyable from the beginning, why should I stick around? The people making that defense are the same people that buy every game at launch and are like, oh dude, don't worry, the patches will fix it. You're missing the point. But another big reason why I haven't delved super deep into a lot of the popular anime is because I have one that has just remained like the comfort show for me for over a decade now. And that's YuGiOh. Now, I understand that to the wider anime community, YuGiOh is pretty mid. It really was just a shill to sell the trading card game to us kids when we were younger. And people looking back and looking at the anime nowadays, to most people, it doesn't hold up too great. And I can't exactly disagree with that, but man, I'm gonna be real with you. I love this show so much. I cannot get enough of it. It is non-stop enjoyment for me. And despite the fact that everybody has come to terms with that it is just a shill for the card game, I think YuGiOh is still pretty good in the grand scheme of things. It's very enjoyable. I'd say it's pretty captivating. I think it's one of the few anime that people are actually down to sit through the dub rather than most people saying, oh dude, dub fucking sucks. I genuinely cannot watch YuGiOh sub. The dub is such an ingrained part of my childhood and mind at this point that not hearing Dan Green's voice when Yugi talks just sounds wrong to me, to be real. For the most part, a lot of the characters that were introduced in the show, I think are pretty solid. You know, Yugi, Kaiba, Bakura. Man, even the villains come out swinging. Pegasus, Merrick, Darts. I think they're all very solid villains for this series. But one character that I feel was very much neglected throughout the entirety of this show, at least past the first season, was most definitely Joey. Joey is a character that I truly love, and he's one of my favorites in the show. He's always been, no pun intended, the underdog when it comes to this series. And it's one that a lot of people have shown a lot of love for, but something that really sucks to me is how his character grows exponentially and people learn to love him as a person through his personality, his skill, and his heart throughout the entire series. But by the end of it, his character is just thrown so much to the wayside and completely disregarded in so many ways that it genuinely frustrates me, and I wanted to talk about that today. But now that we got the intro out of the way, buckle in everybody. Today we're talking about Joey Wheeler.
Ride round. Like a record, baby. Ride round, round, round.
Why is it that in the majority of Joey's duels, he's either forced into it, the opponent is playing some mind game, or they're just a straight up cheater? I swear, almost every duel that Joey takes part in throughout the entire series is basically rigged against him in some way or another. And it's not like the show writers don't know this. They've literally pointed it out before in the show.
Think about it. So far, you've outsmarted 2 top duelists, and both of them turned out to be major cheaters.
Yeah, why do I attract these freaks?
It's good practice, Joey.
No. I don't see Yugi dueling against people who are slipping cards in his deck or has people sitting on a high rise behind him with binoculars telling them about every card in their hand, you know. Many would argue that Joey facing against all these cheaters does make him a better duelist, showing how much he can outwit these people, but he doesn't need to, you know. Character can be built without this guy having to face a bunch of people who are rigging the game against him. And again, this is a trend that persists for the majority of the shows when it comes to Joey's duels. Hell, I even count his duel with Valen as falling into this category. The dude is just using made-up cards that are just completely overpowered to the point where Joey has to come out here and say, yo, check out this card that I've never used before and I'm never going to use again just so that I can beat your garbage. Though, to be fair, this is how a lot of the duels in the series go. I mean, I'm not defending it. It's not good writing at all.
That shit is a 2-pack of ass.
Regardless, at the end of the day, it's not like these duels do nothing for his character at all. Facing Mai for the first time helps Joey sharpen his senses. Dueling Rex Raptor shows that Joey needs to trust his friends and understand that they're there to help him, not because they don't think he can hold up by himself, but because that's what friends do. In his duel with Bones, he understands to never give up hope and always push forward, despite the odds being against him. These are the main ones that I feel build up his character the most during this season. Bandit Keith is there, but at the end of the day, he's just another one of the cheaters that we see more and more of. And facing Yugi in the semifinals is a clear depiction of respecting your opponent, regardless of who it is. All of these experiences help Joey become a well-established character in the series. And most of these are just reenacted during the second season, whether they're cheaters or learning to respect your opponent at heart. They all reiterate how great of a character Joey is in the early stages of this show. And then we hit the Merrick fight.
I summon Gearfried!
Thought about killing myself.
I don't think I'm saying anything that hasn't already been said by dozens of other people before already. Joey losing to Merrick is probably the biggest example of character assassination depicted in the entire series. And that's not a joke. Joey genuinely won this duel. Flat out, if you took away all the dark magic and everything and just played this as a base duel, Joey won. 100%. But this is an anime and he's not the main character. So, you know, only makes sense. Only Yugi can beat Merrick, so Joey can't do it, you know. We can't have an awesome final battle of the finals where it's a Joey and Yugi rematch. That'd be way too cool, you know. Besides the fact that they completely robbed Joey of probably the most important victory he could have had in his career, you know, we still get a Yugi and Joey finale at the end of this season. Just kidding! You think we're worthy of such a grand spectacle? No, we are mere peasants in the eyes of Kazuki Takahashi. On God though, R.I.P. man, love you so much, and thank you for all the work you've done. But this was bullshit! I already talked about Joey's duel with Valen in Season 4, and besides that, his duel with Rex isn't really anything special, and his duel with Mai is, you know, not so much anything against his character, but more so just a depiction of Mai's character assassination during this season, which that's something for another day, honestly. I could get into a whole thing about that. The main two things that I want to end this video on is looking at his final two duels in the entire series, both taking place in a tournament filler arc.
Unforgivable.
I mean, wow, how respectful. His first duel in this tournament is facing Yugi's grandpa, but is the first real big piece of his character falling apart, and it's more so amplified in the following duel. But for this one, he really goes off the rails and abandons at least a handful of his skill because of how often he relies on just randomized dice-based mechanics in this duel, and not to mention how much of a just straight asshole he is. It ruins one of the key character build-ups that was shown that we talked about earlier, that being to respect your opponent no matter what. And then of course, you got his duel with Siegfried, which is another one that I feel is just straight up rigged against him, because Siegfried's deck, up until he faces Kaiba, is treated as like this omnipotent force that is unstoppable because he plays one card that legit just makes the opponent's deck completely useless, you know. I can see the top card of your deck, I can make you play the card, I can remove the card from play. And Joey's response to solving this issue...
Yeah, so long as Joey doesn't fall back on all his old strategies like rolling dice and using nothing but monsters, he'll be just graceful dice, skull dice, whatever this dice is. Monsters, monsters, nothing but monsters. Even more dice somehow. Joey, no! Think of everything you've learned since you started. This is like you're going back to square one. Sorry, Yug, I can't hear you over all these rolling dice.
Anyway, thank you guys for watching, and with all that being said...
You hear that? There's a squeak. Oh, say if I were you. Oh, tell me what you'd do. How things would be if you were in my shoes. 'Cause you're not me. It's okay to say Joey's a good duelist, bro. Yeah. Yeah, he really is.